Hello everyone, how's it going? Probably just gonna upload this raw, but The Boys. So I took a break. I wanted to watch all the media that I've been trying to catch up on, Godzilla Minus One, The Boys, and all that. And after finishing the latest season, like the first 3 episodes, I can say that this is one of the most disappointing seasons of The Boys. Now, it's not the worst season, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I should say it's probably the worst season I've seen so far, but it's not terrible, but it's also incredibly disappointing. Now, when The Boys launched, it was incredible because it gave us something new that wasn't Disney-fied with the Marvel and MCU with its constant just recycled formula. But they've lost their way as they've gone through the seasons. Now, when The Boys first started, they kind of followed the graphic novel. I read the graphic novel after watching The Boys. It was terrific. And the whole premise of The Boys was the idea of what the world would be like if superheroes were a real thing. And now that they've strayed from the graphic novel, it's more about what our world would be like if we had superheroes. They've kind of just started to just put in every modern day political influence and modern day take they can think of. Like Homelander is basically Trump. Starlight is the good girl who is a representation of the Democrats, or at least that's how I see it. But it's just like they've taken every modern day political system and they've decided to just infuse it into The Boys, and it's just really, really manufactured. That's the only way I can really describe it, manufactured drama, because nothing about this season is truly intense or great. So let's go down, let's just talk about what's happened. This will obviously contain spoilers. So Homelander obviously has become the new Trump. He's basically gotten a huge following of like-minded people who will die for him and want everything about him to be righteous and great and attack the liberals and all that stuff. And while this contradiction is happening, he's going through a midlife crisis. He doesn't know what he wants in his life. He's not truly happy. And his son Ryan, despite him trying to raise him, he wants Ryan to be in his shadow rather than being someone who would eventually overtake him, like how Soldier Boy was in that situation. How Soldier Boy never saw Homelander as someone who would surpass him, that there's no one who's the new him. But they're heavily hinting that Ryan is more powerful than him, and eventually he might end up taking over and killing Homelander. I don't know, but it definitely hints at that. But they just flip-flop on so much stuff, because one of the best things of the last season was the fact that you see Ryan smiling as Homelander killed that guy. And everyone was thinking that he was going to turn into Homelander. Eventually, he's going to disregard human life. And they kind of hinted that at the beginning of episode 1, where he is reciting what Homelander is telling him, how humans are just their playthings. They're not scary. They're like cockroaches and stuff like that. But later on in the season, they just flip-flop and go back to when he was taken from his mother after he finds out everything is fake, and then he wants to go back to his mother. They just never want to take the dive when it comes to these very cool and intense dramas, and I don't get why, because they had so much potential to do something like that. How Billy is literally at the door of death, and how he's battling those inner demons of seeing Ryan, who may be his wife's child, but he's Homelander's kid, he's a soup, and Ryan did kill his wife. And we saw in the last season how he still blamed Ryan for that, and then he again, it's flip-flopping, and at first he's trying to rescue Ryan, and then Ryan is like, no, aren't you mad at me? I'm just like, shouldn't Ryan be like, I don't care what you think, like, I'm with my father, he gets me. Like, I don't want him to turn into like just a caricature, but I want him to have that duality where he just doesn't care. He's like, my dad is the most important thing to me. And Homelander just, he goes back to the similar egotistic person he is. He doesn't want Ryan to surpass him. He wants him to just be like his sidekick. And I get it, that's Homelander's character, and it actually works to the benefit of the narrative. Like, Homelander is actually the best part of the entire show, but also one of the more weaker elements. And that's because they bring in a character called Sister Sage. And she's the world's smartest woman, or as she says, world's smartest person. And she's so boring. And she's so dull, and she's not smart. Like, that's the thing. They keep telling us she's smart. We come into her apartment where Homelander is trying to recruit her, and she has towers of books, and it's just like they're just trying to show us that she's smart in the most idiotic way possible. So what, she has a bunch of books, that doesn't matter. You can hang out in a library for your entire life and you can still be a dimwit. She never really showcases that she's smart. She just shows that she's a trained psychiatrist, I guess, because she's good at reading people and interrogating people. She's also really good at politics. She understands how to stoke the flames of riots and manipulate people, but that doesn't mean that she's smart. She doesn't do anything that's really that smart. It just shows that she's very well versed in current political climates and in psychiatry, which, yeah, that does take a degree of intellect, but it doesn't show that she's any more special than anyone else. She's the world's smartest person, but doesn't really exercise that in any way. And she has this really self-aggrandizing mottos. Like, when someone calls her the world's smartest woman, she says, I'm the world's smartest person. Then she calls the costume she's wearing borderline racist. I'm like, what is racist about it? Like, literally, it's just a costume. Like, I don't get it. Like, maybe it's something I'm not seeing, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is this costume racist? She just comes off as really insufferable. And Homelander puts up with her because he feels like no one will ever contradict anything he says, and that's true. I mean, the guy has killed people for less. He killed Black Noir despite him being the loyalist of his supporters. But at the same time, Homelander has shown that he will kill someone indirectly out of pity, and here this woman contradicts him every step of the way, and nothing happens. In fact, he makes her the CEO of Vought, and I'm just like, the whole point of, I think, season 3 was to show that even Edgar didn't have absolute control of Vought. He had to go through board of directors. He had the U.S. military and the U.S. government on his ass on a lot of things. Like, the guy had a lot of ladders and loopholes he had to go through. He didn't have absolute control, as Homelander 100% saw, but somehow Homelander is able to just, she's the CEO somehow, and everyone accepts this. I'm like, what? What? It doesn't, yeah, it just goes against everything that Homelander has stated. He's like, how he has to basically bend the knee to humans, despite the fact he's a god, but then does the exact same thing where he can do whatever he wants. Like, yeah, I'm the Homelander, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but then goes back to bending the knee for humans. Victoria does kind of come, she's there to show that the upcoming superhero uprising is coming. They heavily hinted that with the Deep starting to become more not confident. He's being manipulated by Sister Sage, but that's just to be seen. Like, he's easily manipulated. He's kind of just like the character people use whenever they want. And another thing is just a little weird that she seduces the Deep, and it's a little awkward with the scene. It's just like, what? First she's calling herself not a woman but a person whenever someone calls her a woman, and then she uses her feminine energy in order to seduce the Deep. Like, when you watch the scene, she's literally acting like a femme fatale, and he falls for it, and they end up hooking up together. So I'm just like, okay. Again, she's not really smart. She's just really good at manipulating people and very good at, reading people. So she's not really a smart person. As for the boys themselves, they're there, I guess. I kind of forgot about them. A-Train, also, he's there. Kind of forget about him. He occasionally helps the boys from time to time, where he just has like a change of heart and decides to just, do the right thing and then go back to being kind of a low-key asshole. He's definitely trying to be better, but it's clear, like, he's kind of on the divide of what he wants in life, and I don't know, he just kind of fell off in a way. A character that I really like, Starlight is also a character. Like, she's just there to help people. Like, something happens and she's there to help people. And I guess there's only one scene with her and Firecracker that really highlights that Starlight isn't the most, divine person out there. But we kind of already knew that from the beginning. But, they're trying to create, like I said, manufactured drama where it just doesn't seem like it's anything that truly intense. It really just seems like something anyone with a, I guess, fresh out of college who's just writing a first draft of a screenwriting play can construct. And the character that they really do dirty is Frenchie. Now, Frenchie and Kimiko have been through a lot of difficulties throughout the series. Her going through a massive, just horrible life of her being brutally murdered and reviving herself, her unable to get in touch of who she really wants and what she wants in life, seeing her brother get murdered, all this stuff, and her and Frenchie being there for her every step of the way. And then he just suddenly cheats on her. Like, some new guy just shows up, and I think he's the son of one of his former contacts, like someone he killed, I think. I'm not really sure. I kind of just zoned out on their entire story, but the fact that Frenchie, of all people, cheated on Kimiko completely makes no sense. Maybe it's something I'm not seeing, but this is someone who really values the character of people. So the fact that he's just like exchanging text messages with this guy, going behind Kimiko's back when they're supposed to be in therapy together, it's just a lot of stuff. It's just like they were shown to be deeply in love for multiple seasons, and just like Thanos snapped, and now suddenly he's cheating on her for like I don't even know the reason. Like, why is it the reason that they're cheating on each other? Kimiko isn't trying to just like pull away from him. In fact, she's trying to get closer to him, and he's also spending a lot of time with her despite cheating on her. So it's not because they've grown apart or distant, they actually are still compatible. So I don't really get the reason. Like, maybe it's sexual, maybe he just finds the guy more attractive than her, I don't know, that could be it. It's just really weird. Out of all the characters, Butcher, again, he's there, he's violent, he's the wild card. People don't want him in control because, you know, his techniques are very violent. Mother's Milk, there for, you know, doing the same thing over and over. They just don't want Victoria to be president because she's a soup. They know she's a soup, and they're all keeping it secret because, you know, she can blow everyone's head up. But, you know, that's kind of, they're just there to try and stop her from being president by trying to assassinate her. And apparently it's really, really difficult to assassinate her. I don't know. I would say just put a blindfold over her, shove a bomb up her butt, and boom. I mean, they did that with Translucent. Why wouldn't it work for her? Granted, he shot her with a gun point blank, but, you know, they almost killed Homelander. So I'm just saying, maybe they could do the same, you know, again, bomb up the butt. Like, her skin may be rock hard, but the insides are still soft as far as I can tell. I don't know. I just thought that scene was really cool in season 1, and just, you know, repeat it. Like, she can't blow your head off, but she can't see what she's looking at. But yeah, that entire situation is there. So for the first 3 episodes, I definitely would rate this the lowest 6 I can possibly imagine. The only redeeming factor is Homelander and Ryan. But other than that, this is the first time when I've watched The Boys where I didn't actively watch it. Like, I didn't have it on my monitor and watch it intensely. Instead, I was watching it while I was playing Stellar Blade. I was like, oh, yeah, that's happening. It's not to say that I didn't give it the time of day. After I did that, I actually did put it on my monitor and watch it intensely. And I was so bored. Because, again, it's all manufactured drama based on the current political climate with things that really don't make any sense. Like, when you read the Boys novels, Homelander and Trump would, you know, it's just like they're forcing this stuff, and it's so just there. Like, it's nothing that I truly would see as something like I would actually want to watch if I wasn't so invested into it. It's like, I feel like if you haven't been invested into Boys, this would be something that would probably just completely tune you out and you'd be done with it. And at the end of the day, I just really feel like what happened was that since they diverted from the novels, they had to create their own stories, and they just turned on Fox News or CNN or just looked on the internet at what people were talking about and used that as a foundation to try and push the story in a current direction, while really trying to create a story with original drama and intensity that the first season and the second season captured. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think about The Boys in the comments below. Love to hear other people's opinions. Dislike, your choice. I'll try and upload more on this channel, but, you know, busy months, and I have other things I have to do. Anyway, bye.